children from fire and water.
Hey all, I want to welcome again Inkbird as our sponsor for the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. Inkbird has more than just barbecue thermometers and instant read thermometers that I've talked about before. Inkbird just came out with a Wi-Fi sous vide circulator that I've been using for a few weeks now that works pretty good. Has over 1,000 watts of power, has an app that has many times and temps for meats and vegetables, also has onboard times and temps for meats and vegetables, runs really quiet, fits most regular sous vide containers that are the size of the Innovas. So check it out. Look below, there's a link with a code for 30% off of the Amazon price that makes it under $60 right now until June 5th. So check out the Inkbird Wi-Fi sous vide circulator in the description below. Back to our program. Welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I'm Darren, I'm your host, and today I have a guest who's been on before, but he's a friend of mine, and I always like having him on. And it's been a while since he's been on, but Mr. Mark Ashby of Grill Mark Co. Mark, welcome back. Why don't you introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Hey everybody, my name is Mark Ashby of the Grill Mark Co. cooking channel, and we're on all social media. And man, thanks for having me on again, Darren.
Hey, no problem. We met a couple, maybe 3 or 4 years back through the, wonders of the internet, through the Facebook group of Kamado Joe, because we both are Kamado Joe enthusiasts for a number of years now. And I think both of us have kind of grown our outdoor cooking skills since then. And we have some other friends like John Setzler and others that, have the same passion we do. Guys like us, are drawn to each other like a magnet. We
Right.
kind of, hang out together talking about our passions of grilling and cooking outdoors and smoking. And a lot of us try to, do more with it than just talk about it, like me and you, and John, starting out doing some videos or a Facebook group or a Facebook page where you try to get more involved. So let's talk about how you got started with the Grill Mark Co. brand that you're working now.
Well, it started back in about 2016. My brother had a big green egg, and I was really kind of enthralled by the whole big green egg Kamado cooking kind of thing and what it could do. And so I picked up a Kamado Joe. I actually had an Acorn before that, but as most people do, they step up sometimes from the Acorn is a good entry grill for Kamado cooking. But and then I decided, well, maybe I want to start sharing some of my cooking experience and see how that works out. And when I started this, because my last name is Ashby, I was like, Ash, what can we do with Ash? How about Ash Mark Cooking? That was the first name of Grill Mark Co. And God, that was awful. And so I changed it to Grill Mark Co. because that sounds a lot better. And then from there, I created a Facebook page and just started sharing, tips and tricks and things like that. And, I was going to some Kamado Joe events that they were holding around the Atlanta area, and my fan base just kind of slowly started building. I created an Instagram account too, and started sharing pictures and things. And then I was like, I need to start doing some videos. So, it just kind of snowballed, and here we are, almost 15,000 total, social influences between Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yeah. And I think, people like you, me, and John Setzler, it starts out with, when I was looking for information, I went to YouTube, I went to Facebook,
Yep.
and learned as much as I could, and, tried to suck up as much information as I could. And I wanted to go ahead and turn around like, John and some others to help people that are looking for that information. I've talked to a lot of other YouTubers who started out, 10 years ago. I talked to Malcolm Reed. I talked to Greg Mervich, Ballistic Barbecue, and it's all pretty much the same. Even Danielle at DivaQ, they start out with the passion of wanting to cook, and they learn, and they throw themselves into it and learning as much as they can, but then they want to share the knowledge and spread, the barbecue love, as Harry Sue likes to say. I mean,
Yeah.
Harry Sue's another one that
Right.
they like to give back, and that's like, I know that's what I like to do. That's why I created, the Facebook page, the Facebook group, the YouTube channel, the podcast, is to bring more of this stuff out to people so they can, expand their cooking knowledge and bring more stuff outdoors than just burgers and hot dogs and briskets
Right.
and pork butt. So
I think it's cool, especially with your channel. You found a good niche of sous vide and charcoal grill cooking kind of thing. And for me, it's just simply cooking on different types of grills. I have a gasser kind of hybrid behind me here. I've got a flat top here. I've got an acorn off screen. But I mean, I try to cook on just different varying ones. And what I like is to I kind of like to think of myself as like a blue collar kind of person, because a lot of these grills are affordable. Kamado Joes are affordable, but maybe not for everybody, And so for me to be able to cook and show off these different kind of grills, man, I absolutely love sharing the knowledge. You're absolutely right.
yeah, and that's me with sous vide. I try to bring it down to, people think of it as something that only chefs use, or that it
Hmm.
can only make a good steak or something like that. That's the reason I chose it, because I found it so versatile, and it can do so many things when you do mix it with smoking and grilling and outdoor cooking, that you can't do any other way. And I wanted to show people that. So
Right.
yeah, it's definitely, that's what drives me. It's not, I'm not going to get rich doing this. I'm not going to, don't want to be famous. I don't want to have a food
No.
channel, TV show or anything like that.
No.
It's strictly something I'm really passionate about. I love to do, and I love teaching and showing other people. How did you get hooked up with Char Griller? Because Char Griller, it's a big brand name out in the big box store. So a lot of people know it because they see it at Home Depot and Walmart and, Lowe's all the time. How did you get hooked
Mhm.
up with them as being what do you call it, influencer with them, a social media
An
influencer?
ambassador. Yeah. So Chargler has, they actually have a new ambassador program that they've been kind of shooting out there across social media, taking on a lot of new ambassadors. And then there's about 5 of us that are what they would call a premium ambassador, ones that they feature on the page. They feature our content maybe a little bit more than others and things like that. But I simply was like I said, I started out with an acorn, and then I moved into the Kamado Joe sector for a long time, and I was looking for somebody that I could, you know, again, try to find a way to be affordable barbecue kind of thing. And I knew the acorn, how inexpensive it is, and the great cooking versatility that we can get out of it. Same as a Kamado Joe, a little bit different, but it's not ceramic, it's double insulated steel. But so I emailed them and I said, hey, I would really love to just feature you guys on my channel. And they reached out, and from there we just created a relationship. And I'm not paid by them by any means. I sure wish I was, but they send me a lot of grills and stuff, and I get to use these grills in my videos, which is like so cool, because these products are really great products. And it there is a lot of brand recognition of them as well, because they are in Walmart, they are in Home Depot. And this is going on my second year with them as an ambassador. And I just think it's a really great relationship, and I love working with them to do those kind of things.
Yeah, it's definitely great to get to work with a manufacturer, especially if it's one that you enjoy using their products. That's one of the reasons why I liked, working with Kamado Joe, working with Camp Chef. I like their
Hmm.
pellet grills. I like working with, companies that I like, and I like their products. And
Hmm.
I know a lot of guys out there on YouTube will, pretty much take any product that's thrown at them. But, and I've had, plenty of companies offer me stuff, send me stuff, and a lot of stuff, some stuff I use, some stuff I don't, and some stuff I just toss away. But, it's always fun to play around with these toys and do, reviews for people or show people how to use them. Um, and then tell them, give an honest review. And that's one of the things I like to do is, I get, all of a sudden I'm getting all these vacuum sealers sent to me, and they're higher end ones, and
Right.
ones that they're geared more towards the home user, but they're still the chamber vac. So they're still a couple, $4, $5, $6, $800, but they're not the big commercial ones. But I get to play around with those and show people what they can do, what, features and benefits they have and offer them. And they're some of my most popular YouTube videos, is showing those type of stuff. But yeah, it's always fun. So has working with Char Griller helped you grow your overall brand and your channels?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. They, when earlier this year, they sent me this hybrid grill right here called the Flavor Pro. And I've used this one in a lot of my videos actually recently, because what's cool about it is it is a gas grill, but it has a drawer right here where you can add logs, charcoal, pellets, anything. So it's kind of this hybrid grill. And that's been a really popular seller for them this year. But whenever I post a video with that, and put the tags on their Flavor Pro or anything like that, I've gotten a lot of views through YouTube and Facebook on those grills. Same with the flat iron here. This is popular because they're trying to, make it a competitor in a kind of crowded market with Blackstone and other companies. And so, but to me, I've had a Blackstone, I've had this one, and I really like this one, not just because they sent me one, but because I use this quite a bit. And it's a really great product. But yeah, they have definitely grown my brand, and I've grown with them. That's the cool thing. And, they'll feature a lot of my videos on their YouTube channel or on their Facebook page, things like that, that gets me a lot of followers. And, with that, again, I don't make any money from this, but I'm able to reach more people that way. And that's what I find really cool is just being able to, like you and I both said, share our passion, spread the knowledge of just different styles of cooking.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so people can kind of see. One of the things here, I noticed that on your YouTube channel, when we had talked last year, I think you were still kind of struggling to get, over 1,000, subscribers.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're well over that now. You're at, over almost, getting close to 4,000. So
wow.
How does it feel, because it seems like since Char Griller is such a popular in the big box stores, it's out there all over the place, and people are, it's a mass market product, and people are always looking for information on grills and smoking. And first thing they do is, like, I know I did this with Kamado Joe, and even with the Acorn, you look up the brand and see what's out there as far as information. So if you pop up, that can, all it can do is help you get, more views, and especially when you're, doing videos of, showing their cookers, how to use them. I mean, that's,
right.
Very popular. I'm also going to go to your Facebook page here so people can see it and find you. So you can see what they're looking for. But I've also noticed that your videos have gotten a lot more, I want to say you've gotten a lot tighter on your videos. How has that experience been for you, learning how to do some videos? You started out with just music and just cooking, showing cooking. And I know I kind of did the same thing. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's really hard if you're not used to being on camera all the time and looking at yourself and editing yourself and listening to yourself talk.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard for me at first too. And so I know I've learned a lot over the last 3 years on how to edit, how to, critique my own videos and try to get my own style out there. How do you think you've grown over the last 2 years since you started?
Well, man, that's a really good question. I'll tell you, yeah, you're right. And I go back and I look at some of my earlier videos and I say, oh my gosh, what was I thinking?
And everybody does that. I mean, Malcolm Reed does that. When I talked to Malcolm Reed, I said, you go back to your, videos from 10 years ago. And he goes, boy, I don't go look at them. He says, it's so bad, because he started out with just a a camcorder walking around barbecue competitions, and nothing was scripted. It was all, so everybody does that, no matter who you are, how you start, so.
I was I think when I first started, I said, and I think I even told you this, I said, I want the food to be the star, not me. And then, you quickly realize, well, you're not going to get a whole lot of views because there's nothing to connect with. There's nobody to form. You can put the recipe on the screen, you can do whatever the hell you want, but at the end of the day, there's nothing to connect with. All you see is the food. It might look good, but it's different when there's somebody in the frame. And slowly I bought some better equipment, and I had I ordered a microphone and some professional shooting equipment and these kind of things. But I shoot everything on my cell phone, and I edit everything on my cell phone. And so it's gotten a lot better and a lot easier. And I don't necessarily write out a storyboard all the time of what I'm going to be doing when it comes to my cook. I just kind of know up here and follow the steps. But if you see my outtakes, there's probably 5 or 6 shots of the same shot. And when I'm editing it in the house, and my wife is, not so excited about that. But I'll tell you though, it's a lot easier to be on camera and to, just see those things, and really connect with the audience and give them a visual and how to cook it and those kind of things. So it's a lot easier for me now than it was at the beginning, for sure.
Yeah, it's always a learning experience, and I started the same thing when I started the podcast, because I started the YouTube channel about a year before I did the podcast, and it took me a few episodes to get my persona down.
Right.
I'm one, I need to have somebody to talk to. I can't talk to. I tried doing 1 or 2 episodes where I'm just talking myself and trying to talk to people out there, with nothing to bounce off of, but I can't do that very well. That's why I don't do a lot of, going live on YouTubes or going live on Facebook. It's just,
I don't do that either.
I like to be able to actually have a conversation with somebody face to face, and talk, and not text or try to pretend there's somebody in front of me and talking back to me. So, but
I don't do Facebook. I've done a few Facebook lives with Char, but I had another person on the end, and I actually had 2 people in. One I could hear, but she's off screen, and then I had Steve Dotson, a cookout coach, on there as well. But yeah, doing them by yourself is weird, that's for sure.
And I can do it when I'm doing a YouTube video, because I'm pretending that camera is somebody and I'm showing them how to do it. But it's a little different when you're thinking, wow, there's, could be 500 or 600 people watching me right now and just sitting there at their computer, laughing at me. Well, I know they're not doing that when I'm recording, and I can edit it and everything. But when you're live, it's a little different. When you're trying to pretend like, there's somebody standing right there and there's just a camera and you're just trying to watch the chat go by. It's a little bit different, a little bit more intimidating, I guess. It is, so. Hey, all, I want to introduce you to a company I just started working with, Fresh Jack's Organic Spices out of Jacksonville, Florida. They're a small, family-run company that's fast-growing. I've tried a bunch of their different seasoning blends and spices, and I can tell you they're all fresh, all organic. None of them contain artificial flavors or sweeteners. None of them have anti-caking agents or preservatives. They all taste like they were just made for you yesterday. Check them out, guys. They're on Amazon in the link below. They have different sample packs, different blends. Like I said, they also have the individual seasonings and spices as well. Fresh Jack's Organic Spices. Check them out, guys. I love them. Well, let's talk about those different cookers you were talking about there with Char Griller, because that's one of the things I like to discuss with everybody I have on here. Over the years, especially I would say the last 8 to 10 years, the outdoor cooking equipment has done nothing but continue to change and grow and innovate. Even with Char Griller, because like you, I started out with an Acorn 4 or 5 years ago, and they really didn't have a whole lot of other offerings. They had a couple charcoal grills. They had maybe a gas and charcoal grill hybrid. They may have had one stick burner offset, but that was about it, and then some utensils. But now, everybody's got multiple, different types of grills out there. And
Yeah.
then you got people like Weber that, their iconic,
Kettle.
their kettle. And then they got, the Smoky Mountain, bullet type smoker.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then this year they, went totally sideways and came out with a pellet cooker, something that, something that takes electricity and pellets. And
right.
so it seems like everybody's trying to innovate and stay on top of the market to offer something that people are looking for, because I can tell you that, at least from the last 10 to 12 years, the interest in outdoor cooking has grown exponentially. It's just grown a lot. And a lot of it is to do with all these different types of cookers and technology, and the easier it's making it for people to get out there on their back porch. So what do you think about that? And how do you think Char Griller is doing in that arena?
I'm in agreement with you. Char Griller came out with the Acorn, which, if I understand correctly, and I could be wrong about this, so don't 100% quote me, but I think they were the first one to come out with a double insulated steel Kamado style cooker. I also know there's the Keg by Broil King, but I don't know which one came out first, to be honest with you. But I think it was Char Griller, because I believe that's what they told me. And yeah, you're right. They had some lower end grills just a few years ago. It was, a bigger offset called the Smoking Champ, and then they had a few gas grills that looked like a barrel cooker a little bit, and then they have the hybrid grill, and then the Acorn. Now they have the Acorn Junior. They have the kettle grill that looks like an Acorn. They have several offset smokers. I have the Competition Pro, which is their largest they carry to this point. They have the Flavor Pro, which is the gas grill. And when I put this thing together, I was like, man, this thing is a beefy grill, and it is. It's extremely heavy duty and durable. There's some higher end grills like Napoleon. They have a flavor drawer like that you can pull out, and that kind of stuff. And they even entered the griddle market with the flat iron, and they have the 4-burner, which is one I have here, and then the 2-burner one, which can run off those Coleman propane tanks, things like that. And they even have more grills coming out later this year. I don't have any insider knowledge on that. I just know that I've been told that they're working on, I don't know, 4 to 7 new grills coming out, which is awesome. And they're all at a very affordable price point. They even do have a ceramic Acorn as well. They did have a pellet grill for a while. I think they're revamping that one. So outdoor cooking is not only big money, but it's just big time. It's, I like to say, guys or girls or ladies, men, whoever that like to cook can become kings or queens of the cul-de-sac. You can make your own queue outside and it'd be really, really good. And, you're the king of the cul-de-sac basically when it comes to that. I have 7 different grills out here right now. And each one of them serve a purpose, from the Junior all the way to the griddle, Flavor Pro. I use my kettle quite a bit. And so it just is a difference of what I'm feeling and what I want to cook on, because they all cook differently too. But the market for this has grown, and I think it's a very competitive market. Kamado Joe is a small company. Now it's a big company. Then you have Masterbuilt came out with the gravity fed smoker, which is such a cool grill, looking at it. And you have Big Green Egg that's been around forever. Maybe not as super innovative as other companies, but they're just a solid company in itself. And there's so many out there. It gives us a lot of choices. So I think it's just constantly evolving with technology, with just different styles of cooking to be able to give anybody the style cook that they want. You have just pellet enthusiasts. You have just people that love gas grills because of the ease of it. Then you have Kamado purists who say they don't use anything else, or people are loyal to a brand when it comes to griddles or anything else. So it really is just a matter of what your preference is and finding the right company that can make a quality product for that.
There's actually YouTube channels where people cook everything they can on a Blackstone or a flat top, You know,
Really?
they show you how to, cook a brisket on a flat top because they get passionate. And like you said, they get
Yeah.
passionate about brands. They get passionate about the type of cooker. But me, I've always been one that I always can see the value in anything and try to use it. Like you, I've got several different cookers on my patio and I like to use every one of them, for
Hmm.
certain reasons. But I think that back in the I would say 10 to 12 years ago, back when barbecue pitmasters came out,
Yep.
kind of sparked the interest of people. But back then it was more all about the competition cooks, the
Yeah.
Myron Mixons, the Johnny Triggs. People got enamored with them, and even Harry Sue,
Hmm.
because they saw them on TV and what they were doing. So people would try to emulate that. And then I think a lot of people, some people still do, but I don't think it's like that anymore. I think it's more people have discovered that competition barbecue and eating barbecue or home barbecue
Way
is
different.
is way different. And even me and and I had Malcolm Reed and his wife on. We talked about that, and people, they see Johnny Triggs making his ribs, putting brown sugar and honey and agave and
Right.
parquet and all this stuff in there. It's not for you to eat a half a rack of ribs. It's for that one bite the judge is going to take. So you got
Right.
to try to make it, make their eyes, blow out of their sockets when they take a bite of it. And you can't eat, a regular portion of that, or
Yeah.
go into diabetic shock, So I think people learned it. That kind of started the fire, and then it got the interest going. And then with all the innovation coming out, all these companies coming out with different types of cookers, and pellet grills started catching on fire. And
Hmm.
then the innovations with the flat top griddles, people started going, hey, those things are cool because hey, I used to work at me personally, I used to work at a diner back in my younger days, and it reminded me of cooking back when I was
Yeah.
cooking in a diner. So I mean, it's those type of things that get people. The more they can cook outdoors, especially I live in Florida, so I can cook outdoors year round here. So
Right.
I can pretty much cook outdoors 7 days a week and not have to worry about it. Now I've got a covered deck. I don't even have to worry about rain or anything. So I
Right.
think the more people can do that and get excited about cooking, the better. And just the innovation of all these cookers is just, and not just the cookers themselves, but the way people are cooking. And one of the things that I loved about John Setzler and started following him is he tried to show you all the different things you could cook on the Kamado Joe, um,
Right.
not just a pork butt or ribs or chicken, just the basic barbecue stuff. And I think that's what really gets people going is that, hey, I can bake bread, I can do
Yeah.
pizzas. I mean, I can do things, just about anything I can do in my kitchen, I can do outdoors now. So
Right. I think you're right. And I even still like watching barbecue pit masters from time to time. I mean, it's a cool show, and you can still learn a lot from those techniques of the competition, even if you're not doing competition style cooking. But yeah, people like John and you and me and Malcolm that just kind of show us the basics of kitchen cooking outdoors is what really kind of sets us apart from the rest. And I didn't know that people were cooking briskets on a flat top. But that's going to be something that I'm either A, going to try, or B, just watch. But either way,
yes.
that's pretty cool.
Sometimes they do things just say they could,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
and
Yeah.
I do that sometimes when I'm doing sous vide stuff. I'll do it just because I can, right? I want to show
Yeah.
people, why you can do it if you needed to or you
Yeah.
wanted to. It's just, is it always going to be the best way? No, but hey, if you
Right.
just to show you, hey, it's something different
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's true. That's true. I'm gonna have to check that out though. But that's really neat. And yeah, it is so innovative, this space of outdoor cooking, because you can create an entire outdoor area just around your cooking area. You see a lot of these outdoor kitchens and everything that are designed around, that have a gas griller and a Kamado grill in it and those kind of things. And you design your entire backyard around that. It's cool to see where the space has gone, and I'm really excited to see where it's going to continue to go. I don't know how much more innovative you can get, but I've been shocked before.
Well, I was saying the same thing last year, and then Masterbuilt came out with that gravity fed
Yeah.
smoker for $500. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody knows, Masterbuilt's not, a top of the line company. Their products are just like Char Griller. They're aimed at the regular guy who's shopping at Lowe's or Walmart
Yep.
or, Home Depot. So they're not super expensive. They're not at the, pricey, barbecue store.
Right.
They're usually sub, $500-600, and
Yeah.
that's what people are looking for to get started on. And that's what's amazing me. It's not just the higher end, you know, companies that are innovating. It's even these lower end ones. They're trying to
Yep.
say, I saw this in a higher end type grill. I want to see, how I can make it into a lower end type grill, a similar type thing. And that's what I saw
Yeah.
with the Acorn. It was, they saw the Big Green Eggs and the other Kamados, and they said, how can I make that cheap enough that,
Yeah.
the regular guy can afford it and get interested in that type of cooking.
Hmm.
And the same thing with some of these other, like that grill you have right behind you there with that,
The
that
Flavor Pro here. Yeah.
flavor pro drawer. With, that's for somebody who may not want a pellet grill, that wants a gas
Right.
grill and doesn't want to have to buy one of those smoker boxes that you can never
Right.
really, set it right on the, it's always a pain, or a
Doesn't get it right.
smoking
Yeah.
tube, so it's just, yeah, I mean, that's why I think the space is going to continue to innovate and change, and people just unbelievably what they come up with anymore to change and make things, better and
More affordable.
more affordable. Exactly. So what inspires you to continue to do your videos and try to, your cooking and all that?
I just love food, right? And if I see something on TV, or if it's something I've seen maybe at a cooking demonstration, like the Kamado Joe parties, that the live cookouts they've done in the past, and I've seen Chef Eric cook some stuff, or I see John cook something, or I see you cook something, and I'm like, man, that's cool. What can I do? How can I put my own twist on that? I think that's really what inspires me. Is it's a visual thing for me, and I said, man, that looks really good. How can I make it look as good and taste equally as good? And I think that's what inspires me the most. So I'm probably a member of, I don't even know, 15 or 20 uh groups on Facebook about barbecue and cooking and all that kind of stuff. And on my Instagram page, that's all I follow is other barbecue people. And I kind of see what's going on. I mean, I'm friends with people in Germany and Netherlands, and all over Europe, and some in Australia, just seeing what they're doing as well. I saw one company do a pulled lamb leg, like a pulled pork, but it was lamb leg, and that was out of Australia. And I was like, that's something that's really cool. Now I've never done that because lamb is expensive, but it's just those kind of things that really kind of, I'm like, okay, well, let's give it a shot. And there's been a few times where I've shot an entire video, and the the product at the end was garbage, and I have to scrap the entire video. I spent all day doing it, and then it comes out to nothing. An example of that would be my Scotch egg I did. I did a Scotch egg video, smoked it on the Acorn, thinking, okay, well, I soft boiled it. It's going to be good inside that sausage. And when I cut it open, the yolk's going to come right out. No, it kept cooking like I'm an idiot. And I said, well, it doesn't always turn out the way you want. I try just doing different things. If I've eaten something and I'm like, okay, well, how can I recreate something like that at a restaurant? That kind of inspires me too. Recently everybody's doing the smoked queso thing. I did a smoked queso video probably a couple weeks after Matt Pittman did, and I put my own spin on it. I do exactly his recipe, but it came out awesome, and my neighbors loved it, and my family ate it. So it's really just kind of anything I see. What about you? What inspires you to keep cooking and trying new things?
The same thing. I mean, I've been cooking for 40 years, just about.
Uh-huh.
As soon as I could start cooking, I was cooking, at home with my mom, and then I got jobs in the restaurant early on, and I've always loved to cook because, of course, I love to eat too. But I've always liked to, create and see how things are created. And, I'm not big on following recipes to a T. I kind of always like to
Yeah.
put my own spin on stuff.
Yep.
I do use recipes as a guideline, and then like you, I look at it and go, yeah, that's a smoked queso dip that looks cool, but what if I did it this way? Or I put my own, what if I use this kind of cheese or use this kind of peppers instead? I think
Right.
that, I think that's what people like you and me, what gets us excited is when we see stuff like that. Somebody comes up with something new and you go, wow, that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
I do that all the time too. And I get inspired by what people cook, but I don't try to take credit for it. I just say, look, I've seen somebody else do this. I'm going to put my spin on it because I think this is cool. And I think everybody should give it a try. So I think that's looking for inspiration everywhere else and then giving credit to people is pretty fun. So
I did a pulled chuck roast video yesterday, right? And some pulled beef. I've never actually done that before, but I did it off a chuck roast because I did a Walmart delivery grocery and they got my order wrong, so they sent me a chuck roast instead. And I watched a barbecue pit guys video or barbecue pit boys video from 9 years ago, and I was like, okay, well they did that on a Weber kettle. Why can't I do this on this Flavor Pro here? And it came out awesome. I mean, it came out really good, very flavorful, and everything else. And I kind of followed their recipe to a T a little bit, but I used a completely different grill and a setup and everything else. And man, it was awesome. So yeah, it's just a matter of what you see, and sometimes they turn out really good, and sometimes they may look good on video, but taste like garbage. Like my friend Jarrell says, all substance or all show no substance, something like that. Like it can look really good, but
yeah,
it may not taste good.
I actually did an experiment last week that didn't come out good. I was going to shoot the video and I said, well, I'm going to try the recipe out first before I even try to shoot a video. And
Mm,
thank God I did, because nothing worked the way I wanted it to.
what was
And
it?
I was going to take chicken thighs and kind of stuff them like I'd seen some people do some stuffed chicken wings,
Oh
where they
yeah.
actually take the bone out of the they take the drum off and they just take the bone out of the
Yeah.
flapper, and then they take the meat and they chop the meat up and kind of mix it with other stuff and then stuff it back in and then deep fry it. So it's just like a
Oh.
stuffed chicken wing. So you keep the end on, the far end, and
Oh.
you like just pick it up and take a bite out of it and it's done.
Sounds
I
interesting.
was going to do that with thighs, and I think, well, but the thighs that I got, my wife got this big bag of thighs a couple weeks back, and
Hmm.
none of the skin was like, it was all like cut wrong, so it was like all
Oh
small pieces
yeah.
of skin, so I
Yeah.
really couldn't do anything.
You can't do anything
There
with
was
it.
like 8 times the meat and no skin to use for wrapping, and I tried to do some of them a different way and it just didn't come
Hmm.
out. So, and it's like, I'm gonna have to try that, go back to square one. I'm glad I didn't, because sometimes I'll do that. I'll try to shoot a video on something I've never done before and just have
Yeah.
an idea in my mind. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And so sometimes I go, maybe I'll try the recipe before I
Yeah, I
video it.
should probably do that too, and do a maybe a trial and error sometimes. But when I'm in the mood to shoot a video and I know I need to get some content out there, like I've done two this week, but there's been some weeks where I'm doing a live cook on the Char Griller page, so I don't put anything out because that'll kind of be my video for the week. But yeah, there's a lot of times where I'm just thinking, okay, I'm inspired, let's get it. I'm just gonna do a video, and what do I
Yeah.
have in my kitchen to make it work?
So let me ask you a question. You got all those, different types of grills out there now. Which one is your
Mhm.
favorite that you like to use, that you go to personally? Not that you want to shoot a video on all the time, but one
No,
when you
yeah.
come home from work and you got to cook something and you're not shooting a video, what's the one you go to right now?
My go-to grill probably right now is my Flavor Pro, just because I was a charcoal enthusiast, and I'm like, and I wasn't a purist by any standards, but I was like, man, charcoal is the only way to go, and this, that, and the other, and then so I'd fire up my Acorn, and at the time I didn't have the grill gun like I do now, so firing up the Acorn or a Kamado grill takes 25, 30 minutes to get it ready and all that kind of stuff, and I don't know, so this gas grill is actually convenient. And I kind of forgot the convenience of them a little bit because I've been cooking on Kamados for so long. But I can still get that smoke flavor by throwing some chunks in there and all that kind of stuff, and it heats up super quick. And So I would say probably if I'm just cooking something quick, it's either this or the flat top if I just need to sear something. I've cooked vegetables and rice and steaks on here and chicken and all that kind of stuff as well. But probably my Flavor Pro is my go-to, number one grill right now. But if I'm doing a video, most likely my Acorn or the Flavor Pro. Those are my top two that I use more than anything else, I would say.
Yeah, and before I got the Camp Chef pellet grill, I would say I cook most everything on the Kamado Joe,
Mm-hmm.
and that's my preferred grill, to cook on. But
Yeah.
if I'm in a hurry, I don't have time to mess with it. I just want to set it and forget it. Especially now that I got the Camp Chef that is Wi-Fi enabled.
Right.
If it's something to where I can just set it and I can check it while I'm in my office editing video and not have to get up every 5 minutes. Not that I don't have an iCommand. I have the iCommand. I can do that with the Kamado, but for some reason it's just easier for me to crank it on. I can actually, get it started and going and sit down and monitor that. And yeah, it's got its goods and bads, but they all do. But that's what I use a lot of now is that.
Can
I would
those
say,
get really hot and for searing? Like, what's the highest temp you can get on that?
well, the one I have has the Sidekick, which is
okay.
a gas fired. Actually, it's got a griddle and a barbecue box, which you can do searing on, and it's actually
nice.
has an actual gas burner as well, so I could actually put a pot of chili out there if I wanted to. So that particular one does. Most of them don't. This one, you can actually move the heat shield back, and it's got the sliding grill, which you could cook directly over the burner pot, but it's not quite as it's not as hot as cooking in the Kamado, but
sure, yeah.
And the PK grill I really like too. I use that a lot for searing because with the grill gun I can actually get that fire going, and it sits up higher than the Kamado, so I don't have to go all the way deep in or put my grates all the way down. It's actually sits pretty up pretty close, so I can get that hot and going if I'm searing. But
and you have the 360, is that right? The PK 360?
Yeah, the 360. So they all have their purpose. I love them all, but like I said, I use the pellet grill more than I thought I would actually. So, but I can see why people like them for the convenience. But I like to have options, just like you.
Right. Yeah, I have quite a bit of option, to be honest with you. I mean, most people don't have no use for 7 grills, and I use every single one of them quite often. But obviously I'm not going to use my offset smoker to fire up for the evening. That's an all day thing if I want to cook 7-12 hours, something like that. My kettle grill is pretty cool too, but yeah, this gasser is probably my go-to just because it's got cast iron grates in it. It's got a warming rack in there, so I can put sauces up on the top part and keep it warm while I'm searing a steak or some, fish or anything really. So.
Well, great. Well, all right, Mark, is there anything else you wanted to talk about before I let you go and get back to your family?
No, man, I'm glad you had me on. Thanks again. And, I look forward to the next time.
It's always good to have you on. I want to make sure everybody follows you on Grillmark Co. Grillmark CO. on Facebook and YouTube, and I'll have a link below in the description so you can check out Mark's videos, check out the different cookers he's cooking on with Char Griller, and check them out. I mean, like I said, I'm impressed with what Char Griller's been coming out with the last couple of years. So it seems like they are going to ride the innovation with everybody else and offer people what they can things that they want for the price that they can actually afford. So that's a great thing.
It is a really great thing. I can tell you they have, like I said, there's at least 5 grills I know of. I don't know what those grills are. I've just been told there's 5 grills in development that are just kind of improvements, things that they've done a lot of customer surveys and stuff to come out with. And it's not going to maybe change the game, but it's going to definitely be a heavy hitter in the market for sure.
Well, I look forward to watching you cook on some of those. And thanks again for being on. And everybody, make sure you check out Grillmark Co.
Thanks, Darren.